Hey guys, this is Abbie. Thank you for joining me here today. This is the first of my top 10 tips for backpackers series, and today we're going to focus on snacks. So I'm an avid long distance backpacker, slowly working my way through the trails in the UK and taking off a few abroad, and basically I've kind of learned what works for me, and the aim of this video is to share that knowledge for those of you say who are wanting to get into backpacking, or those of you that are just looking for a few more ideas for when you next head out on the trail. So, where do we begin? I think we should begin by saying your snacks depend on how far you're going to be walking, how long you're going to be walking, and how much you want to carry. So, say you're walking for 5 to 7 hours a day. Your first trail, you want to keep your days quite short. You're not walking that far, and you're walking for, say, 3 days at most. You guys are going to be wanting to eat a lot less calories than those of us that say want to walk 1 to 2 weeks, ranging between 10 to 14 hours a day on the trail. So, kind of just to sum that up, I think it's really important to consider weight to calorie ratio. Your snacks need to be light for the most amount of calories that you can kind of pack in them, if that makes sense. Basically, they need to be light but also calorie rich. And when I say calorie rich, I'm not, I would keep it 200 calories max. 1 to 200 calories per snack is plenty fine. And all of these snacks kind of sum that up. So, if you can count, I'm sure you can see there's more than 10 items here on the table. Well, at least I'm assuming there is, if I can sabotage. So, this is basically just an example of what works for me. And I just want to kind of run through that and share that with you. The other thing I just want to say before I start is, just because you're on the trail doesn't mean you can neglect living a kind of healthy lifestyle. You'll be saying, well, I'm exercising, so what does it matter? Well, true, but it doesn't mean you should neglect the amount of protein you should be getting, the amount of carbohydrates, minerals and ions. All of these things need to be met. Otherwise, technically, you're just malnutritioned for that week-long expedition. And, these snacks here can help meet those needs that your body has. Enough of the talking, let's just get on with this. So, let's begin with the good old trail mix. Everybody knows it. This bag weighs 300 grams and it costs £1. So I wouldn't take the whole pack unless, say, I was walking for 2 weeks. But obviously it's really calorie rich. It's quite cheap. So, I'm trying to be budget friendly here. I'm not rich, so I don't want to spend loads of money on food. Trail mix is a good compromise. Rich in calories. Yes, it's quite heavy, but I think the calories kind of are sufficient for that. This is probably the highest calorie thing on the table, other than this fruit loaf, which is kind of a lighter version of trail mix, I suppose. It's all bunged in one, really, isn't it? And of course, it's squishy, so you can just squish it up in any shape and keep it in the bottom of your pack. Both of those keep quite well in temperatures ranging from high to low. And of course, I think one thing people don't consider with trail mix is packed with fruit. So a lot of people, when they get on the trail, get bunged up. And obviously things like dates and raisins can help considerably with that. So if you are somebody that gets bunged up, do consider trail mix. Of course, the other option is, with trail mix you can go just fruit or just nut or tropical or go exotic, who cares, whatever, it's your backpacking. But if you just fancy raisins, which is what I have, I really like these cute little boxes. Yes, I have to carry the cardboard around until I find a bin, but each pack of these weighs more than a feather, but not much more. And they have about 50 calories each, and I like to just mix them in with my porridge in the morning, or just, if I just fancy raisins, then I'll eat them. If you're going to be walking through residential areas, or built up areas, or whatever, do consider fruit. Personal favourites for me are apples and bananas. Yes, bananas get squished, but if you eat them on the day of purchase or in the morning of the day after, then they've about 100 calories in there, and an apple's about 50 to 70 or something like that. Apples obviously don't get squished very easily, depends what you're doing with your backpack. But the point is, fruit's just really great for you personally. It can be really refreshing. It can make a nice change on the trail. I personally crave fruit and vegetables, so they can help meet those needs that you might have. So never write off fruit. Yes, it's heavy, but the calories it provides are good calories. So fruit is a personal favourite with me. I think the next next place to go to discuss is cereal bars. They're basically the answer to all of your problems. There's so many choices. So I've just got a selection here. To start with, Nature Valley, yay! Flapjack is a really great food for when you're on the trail, but it's heavy. It's high in calories, but it's heavy. For me, those Nature Valley bars are a good compromise. They keep forever. Don't quote me on that. And you know, they've got oats in, 200 calories per bar. This bar weighs 42 grams. So just really high in calories and really light, and they work really great for me. One thing I'll say, if you try these, is don't walk and eat them, because you might choke. They can be quite bitty, so just watch out. It's a little bit of a health warning. Another personal favourite for me is sesame seed bars. So you can buy these pretty much anywhere. I believe they're actually Polish, but I just absolutely love them. Again, this packet has about 130, 150 calories. It's got 3 little slices in there. They're just really sweet, packed with sugar to give you an energy boost, carbohydrates, protein, and just really, really nice. And so light, it's unbelievable. So they are my absolute personal favourite. These used to be my favourite, but I've eaten so many I've completely gone off them, and I'm never going to eat this bar in my hand, so if you want it, take it. This is a peanut bar. Bought from Lidl's, £1 for like 12. Just packed with calories. Blah, sick of them. Protein bars, really great. Protein paleo bars. It's quite difficult to get your daily need to meet your needs of protein throughout the day on the trail, and protein bars can really help with that. Of course, they're full of energy, sugars and other things, and of course they're healthy. They're good for you, a good balance there. This doesn't apply to vegetarians, but beef jerky. It's great, really light. This packet weighs 25 grams, and you kind of got a makeshift bin when it's empty. You just bung stuff in there. Works really great. These are the Weetabix cereal bars. Get them with chocolate in, get them with fruit in, cinnamon, however, to meet your needs. Just really cheap. High calorie, light food. I personally can't eat chocolate, but things like ripples are great. Of course, anything to do with chocolate, you need to consider it's going to melt if it gets hot. Things like Yorkies with peanuts in are really great, because they're just high in calories, but if it's hot, you might end up with a like peanut flavoured chocolate milkshake, something like that. These are my mum's personal favourite. Extremely light. So this packet weighs 31 grams. They come in packs like this. These are Ritz Breaks. So this is, what flavour is this? Rosemary and olive oil. They're little chunks of chunkiness. They're basically crackers, but they're really light and salty, so some people crave salt, minerals and ions when they're on the trail, and they're just fantastic. They're really great. Quite high in calories, but very, very, very light. And just say, they're probably about the same weight, so if that helps. I don't know how much those weigh, but not much. I suppose the final thing to look at is when we're talking about sugar, sweets. You know, say you just hit another pass and you're like, ah, now what? You just run out of energy. Just having a sweet can help with that. And popcorn, I wouldn't take the whole pack, but again, just coffee flavoured. Do you like it sweet or salted? But either way, popcorn is just a really great snack. And this isn't a snack, but it's just worth mentioning if you're trying to talk about keeping your ions balanced. This is the High 5 Sports Nutrition Energy Tablets. So you just bung 1 or 2 tablets into 75 millilitres of water, and they just kind of keep you fueled and happy and good to go. So the last 2 things I want to discuss are these things. So this is a jet boil, for those of you that have never seen a jet boil before. You just add water and it boils it in 2 minutes. Cup of soups and oats are just a really good fuel to have on the trail if you're, say it's winter and you're going to be cold. Cup of soup generally has about 50 calories per sachet. Oats, well, you just have as much as you want. Basically, you just add your contents of your soup or your oats into here, bung some boiling water in, and you're good to go. And it just warms you up and gives you a bit of calories if, say, you're just about to come down off a peak. You're knackered from trekking through the snow all day. So basically, just to quickly run over what I've said, that's all of my snacks, is to say, you know, you need to consider the weight to calorie ratio. You don't want to be carrying really heavy snacks that are really low in calories. And I suppose the worst thing on my table is the fruit. Some fruits can be really low in calories, but for me, I just choose fruit because they're really refreshing and I just enjoy eating them. Other things you might want to consider, like I know a lot of Scandinavian countries enjoy cheese and sausages when they're out on the trail. Again, I personally haven't ticked with that, but it might work for you. But everything you see on this table is purely an example of what I eat on the trail as a snack. I don't take all of this stuff because that'd be ridiculous, but just experiment, head out for day hikes, afternoon hikes, and take new things with you and just see how they work. But you know, the important thing to consider is the weight, the calories, and I suppose as well the cost, because you don't want to be forking out for these high, you know, really expensive branded products. But that's basically it from me today. So that's supposedly my top 10, but it's more like top tips, I suppose. But you know, if you have any advice or you need any advice, do comment below, and I'd really love to hear from you. And all I have left to say now is happy backpacking.